time now to introduce our guest. He is one of our favourite Frenchmen and she's one of our country's finest actors. It's Sirieix and Tracy-Ann Oberman.
Bonjour.
Bonsoir, bonjour. Fred, as you can see, we are all rooting for Rachel, and you know, I think better than most, the stress and the energy that goes into supporting somebody taking part in the games. Got to talk about your little duck, your daughter,
it was
Andrea.
one of the... I was just saying to Tracy, you know, one of, if not the best experience in my entire life. It was just incredible. I was crying every day, several times a day. It was so beautiful. It was so intense, you know. The Olympics were in Paris. You know, Andrea had been in Tokyo before, but obviously nobody could travel. And it was so emotionally charged. It was so special. I've never had such an experience in my entire life.
It gives me goosebumps.
Honestly, we love watching the journey on social media. It was beautiful.
Talking about special moments, Tracy-Ann, a special character returning. There's been so much excitement around Chrissy, what's returning to EastEnders. It's been almost 20 years.
Yeah, 20
was it an easy
years.
yes?
Do you know, the time was never right and things were never right. It never quite happened. But this time, Chris, the new executive producer, rang me. I was free. He told me the storyline. I sat down for 30 minutes while he told it to me. I was like, yeah.
You're in.
I'm in. It was so brilliant.
I mean, how could you say no?
Not for that story. It was really good.
We've had loads of questions come through. First one is from Manvi, who says he wants to know what it was like filming and stepping on to that iconic set for the first time in years. That must have been a bit of a...
So... it was weird. There are bits that aren't quite on the set, I'll give you that much. But yeah, you know, it was like also playing that character after 20 years. Yeah. It was like finding a coat in the attic that you remembered you loved and you put it on. It was really nice, and the crew were pretty much the same. And to work with some of the actors that I loved, that I hadn't seen for 20 years, was amazing.
I mean, Chrissy has had so many iconic moments. I'm going to put you on the spot, but is there a favourite for you?
There were some great moments, cutting Jill Halfpenny's hair off, or so many fights, but for me, being pushed into Dirty Den's open grave by Barbara Windsor was I loved this
moment.
You were pushed in a grave.
Look, she punches me in the face and then I fall into my husband's grave. There was something so camp and so brilliant. I remember bumping into Jonathan Ross, actually, came up to me that day and went, OK, I've seen that episode. I think it's one of the best soap things. Please come on my show. That moment was just brilliant.
I think the thing is with Chrissy's character, is it? One moment, she's a victim, then the next minute, she's a villain. So what are we going to see this time around?
Well, exactly. I think that was why people... You know, I couldn't believe how much love there was for that character. It's been 20 years. And people just still love her. And I still get letters going, oh, when's she coming back? And she is. For me, that was the brilliant thing about her, and where soap is so good, because they write these female characters brilliantly, these strong female characters. Was she a victim or was she a villain? You know, nobody's ever born a villain. The things that happen to them in their lives make them more villainous. Personally, I think with a better lawyer, she would have got off with good behaviour and mitigating circumstances. She spent longer in prison than most actual murderers. So she was a really interesting, good character to play.
Well, we're so happy she's coming back.
It's
and
explosive.
Sticking to the East End, you are bringing back your version of Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice, which actually is set in East End of London, right?
I know. I came out of playing... it was a version that I came up with. I took the Merchant of Venice, Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. I turned it into a British version based on my great-grandmother. Shylock is now a female matriarch. I'm sure we all come from families with strong grandmas, strong mums. So this woman and her one daughter, all she wants is for her to be better than she is. And then she lends money to this aristocratic fascist and they end up in court together. So I took this play, based Shylock on my great-grandmother, who lived in the East End. I based it... There she is there, my Bubba Annie.
Oh, wow.
Came out of Belarus, out of all the pogroms. Lived in the East End, stood up to fascism at the Battle of Cable Street. All the neighbours came to join her, the Afro-Caribbean community, the Irish working class, ordinary heroes from all over the country. It was a British civil rights moment. So I've merged that together with my Merchant of Venice, and it's coming back into the West End in December.
That sounds really interesting, actually.
It's really interesting. It's a moment in... It's a play that has problems, but I think we've solved a lot of those problems. Having a strong female Shylock standing up to these British fascists and basing it on real history. I mean, we were talking earlier, your family were there as well, at the Battle of Cable Street, where the law was changed because ordinary heroes said, no, we will not be divided. And it's all about how, you know, we're better together, stronger together and prouder us together. There are people out there that want to divide us.
But it's very good to remind people like this and to take a stand for these important issues.
Exactly.
It's really important, you know, we can't do enough of that.
And
like
now more than
Tracy-Ann
ever.
said, it's that brilliant side of everyone coming together and wanting the same thing. But Tracy, it's obviously it's incredible and people can't wait to see it. And just to let people know that your return to Eastenders is happening this autumn, and tickets to the Merchant of Venice are available right now, so go and see it.
Yeah. Please do. Now, before Fred tells us why he's got quite the soft spot.
Now, Fred, let's get to you, because we know how proud you are of your home country, but you are an honorary Brit. And it started at a very young age.
Yes, but you know, I came here in the UK when I was 20, 1992, so I'm 52. So I've been in the UK for 32 years, which is much longer than I've been in France. And my love affair with the UK started when I was 14, because, you know, in France we're very kind of regimented and very disciplined in the way we do things. For example, you know, at home, you know, my mom would cook a 3-course meal for lunch and for dinner every single day. And you have to set the table, it has to be set in a particular way. You sit down before the food comes because you wait for the food, the food doesn't wait for you, all these things, you know. And I came to the UK, I was 14, and I loved speaking in English. You know, I was writing poetry in English, playing the air guitar in front of the mirror in English, and I loved the idea of living my life in English at 14 years old. So I came to the UK and I did this exchange, you know, with the family. So the mum of the family prepared me lunch the day I arrived, and I was then going to school, and there was a Tupperware box. And in Tupperware box there was this egg mayonnaise sandwich, a packet of crisps.
Sandwich.
Yes,
That's very British.
a packet of crisps,
Yeah.
a Kit Kat, you know, an apple and an orange juice. And I thought to myself, wow, this is freedom. This is what I've been waiting for, because it was such a departure from the life I had, you know, in France with 3-course meal. And I thought, this is what I want to do. And then I went to the assembly. There was hundreds of girls there wearing mini skirts and long socks, and I was in love because I was there for 10 days. You know, I kissed 10 girls. Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
And I loved it. And there was this girl who was called Belinda, and I was in love with her. I was 14. I'm as much in love as you can be when you're 14 years old, right? And I came back home. My parents had bought some guinea pigs for me and my brother. He's younger, my brother. And
Fred,
I
where
called
are
the
we
guinea
going?
pig.
What's going on?
Fred Darwin with Fred.
And I called
can
the
feel
guinea
the
pig
passion.
Belinda the guinea pig. So the book is about all the things that, you know, the French think about the Brits. It's about my adventure in the UK from the time I arrived in 1992 to today. But in fact, it's a book that's been published. It's being published on the 12th of September. Okay. Actually, in fact, if you order it now on Amazon, you get £4 off.
There you go.
If you have to
Everyone
pre-order
loves a
now,
bargain.
right?
There we are.
You don't learn how to bargain like a Brit.
Yes, but it's all the things, you know, that we have in common, but the differences that we have. I mean, look, for example, at the opening ceremony, you know, for the Olympics, right? Within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, there was a reference of Ménage à Trois. Straight away, people are, oh my God, everybody is happy now. Oh my God, there's a reference to Ménage à Trois. And then you go back to 2012 in London, and what we see with the Queen jumping off a helicopter with James Bond. You see, this is the contrast with our countries. You know, we have so many similarities, but in the same time, there are so many differences. So it's looking at all these things.
But we can feel your passion and your love for coming over and living here. What did your parents think?
My parents, they were not really too keen because I left, I was 20. I did not have the result of my baccalaureate yet, but I so intended to go to the UK. I got a single ticket. I was on a piano ferry, and poof, I could see the white cliffs of Dover, and I arrived. And I loved it. From the moment I arrived, I loved it. You know, I did not go to live, you know, with places with lots of French people. I just got immersed straight away in the culture, with the people. I met lots of people from so many different cultures. Also in France, you only meet French people. Right? I mean, this is my experience because of where I come from in France. In the UK, I met people from all over the world. All the cuisines are there, you know. Before 18 years old, I never had an Indian, a Chinese or mozzarella even. Can you imagine? Yeah. Just French food. So suddenly you arrive here and it's like, wow, Alibaba, this is Christmas.
And that's why you're so great on first dates, because you've just met people from all walks of life living in the UK, right?
Yeah, but you know, this thing also with first date, which is very interesting because it's about restaurant work. You know, when you are speaking in your mother tongue, right, you understand people completely. But if you come to Britain and you just speak English, you are going to fail at understanding people because it's the way people are, you know, the nuances of the language, what people mean. You know, if somebody says, bloody hell, it's a bloody nightmare, I miss my bus. you just missed the bus, but it's just the way people speak. It's not like it's a big deal, you see? So you have to understand really how people speak and what it means. So that comes from years of speaking with people and being immersed in the culture and understanding the Brits, really.
Well, that's it. And on the show, I mean, there's been engagements, there's been babies. You've even invited your own friends onto the show.
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I wasn't too successful in getting a match, but yeah, they had a good time.
Yeah,
Who do you think is more friendly to tourists when they come, the British or the French?
Oh.
I think both are very friendly, and you know, I was very proud of the games because the games were superbly organised. The French were so proud, and it was like when in Paris, it was like a carnival.
We're going to have to tell everyone that they can go and get your book now. Seriously, British
Yeah,
the 12th of September.
There's never enough time, but that means we've had a great time. So sadly, that is all for tonight. Thank you so much, Matt, Nikki, Tracy-Ann, and of course, Fred.
Yeah, I'm going to be back tomorrow with Roman, and we're going to be joined by Bob Mortimer and Nikki Chapman. We'll see you then.